I never introduced myself because I didn't know how long this channel would last. I didn't know if I wanted to maintain some anonymity, but hey, it's been a year and a half of judo, 9 months into the channel, and closing in on 1,000 subscribers for older folks, exploring, starting, and continuing to practice judo. So, for Old Guy Judo, this is Jarvis, like the original AI in Tony Stark's Iron Man suit.
Gauge heads-up display.
Check.
4-door preferences from home interface.
And I am super excited to tell you about my latest project, what I've been working on this past month.
Ready? In 3, 2, 1.
As a matter of interest, I listen to a lot of podcasts about AI and technology. At some point, I realized that I needed to experience for myself. So instead of just listening to people talk about it, I wanted to build something with AI. And the easiest thing to do would be something that I was interested in, judo. And now you know why I introduced myself. So this is non-AI Jarvis, who built a judo app with Jarvis type AI.
All right, what do you say?
I'm a triathlete. I run, bike, and swim, and I log all my training in the Strava app because it syncs with my Garmin watch. In addition to those, I also log strength training sessions. So it made sense to manually log all my judo and BJJ sessions into Strava. That worked okay, but Strava isn't designed for grappling. I was regularly jotting down in my Strava entries things like what techniques I drilled, who I trained with, what happened during randori or rolling. So I figured, let me use this opportunity to utilize AI and vibe code a grappling app. So vibe coding, if you're not familiar, is using AI to write the code for you, where you just tell the AI what you want to see. In fact, the majority of software development today is already being written by AI. Vibe coding is really just coding. Because I was building it myself, using AI to help, I could add all kinds of shortcuts that made the logging of those entries pretty easy. So things like default class times and durations, selecting common training partners. My goal was simple, to make it so easy that I would use it after every class. I probably spent about 70 hours on it so far. The first 20 hours were just getting a basic journaling app working. The rest has been refining the interface and then building out the technique library and iterating and troubleshooting what I think is the coolest part, the AI-powered insights. So let's dive in and I'll show you the app. Everything starts here on the journal tab. So after a class, I would click on log new session, and then I would select the type, the class type, either judo, BJJ, that's gi or no gi, or an open mat, which I haven't used. It's, for me, usually one of the first two. Depending on the date, it automatically selects the starting and ending time for my class, so I don't have to go and change it every single time. It takes maybe 1 to 2 minutes for me to just jot down my thoughts and to recall the skills that I worked on, the different partners that I have gone with in randori or I rolled with during BJJ, and then some notes around randori. What throws I was able to execute, or what I tried but didn't work, or what I got thrown with by someone else. And then if there happens to be a photo, I can add a photo or a video and then save the session. Once I started logging my training consistently, I realized I needed a solid technique library behind the scenes. This library tab is where all of that lives. The community library contains a standardized list of judo and BJJ techniques. So this gives the app a common language to work from, which is especially important for the AI insights. And anyone who's trained for a while knows that the same technique can have different names depending on your dojo, coach, organization. That's where the custom mappings come in. If your club uses a different term or name, you can map your preferred name to the standard technique in the community library and then make it public to share with others, or you can keep it private. So whether you call it one thing or another, the app still understands that you're talking about the same technique and keeps all of your training data organized correctly. Before I show you the AI side of the app, let me quickly walk you through the settings and profile tabs. The profile tab is where I manage my training partners and instructors. Over time, you end up training with a lot of different people, and having them saved in one place makes it much easier to log a session. It also lets me look back and see who I've been spending the most time on the mat with. The settings tab is where I added a bunch of quality of life features that make the app easier to use. For example, you can connect this app to Strava if you use Strava like me, so your judo and BJJ sessions are automatically synced with the workouts that you're already tracking there. You can also set default class times and durations, so most sessions can be logged with just a few taps. There's also a bulk export feature that lets you create individual GPX files, that's for Strava, for every logged session. There's a dark mode toggle and a mask names option if you want to anonymize your training partners. So none of those features are particularly flashy, but they just remove a lot of little points of friction. And that's really the goal with this project, is to make it as easy as possible for me to capture the details of each training session, so I would actually keep using it. The intelligence tab is the newest part of the app. It's still very much in beta and therefore turned off by default while I work out the kinks. But the idea behind it is what got me most excited about this project. The goal of the technique intelligence dashboard is to take all the training sessions I've logged and then turn them into useful insights that can help me train more intentionally. So every time I record a judo or BJJ session, I'm capturing the techniques I drilled, the techniques I used in randori or rolling, and who I trained with. Over time, that creates a pretty rich data set. So the dashboard utilizes Google's Gemini AI to analyze those session logs and extract the techniques and patterns that show up in my training. For example, it can highlight the techniques I use most often, identify techniques I haven't practiced in a while, and show which techniques are becoming a bigger part of my game. The idea isn't to replace coaching, but just give me another tool to reflect on my training and help answer a pretty simple question. Based on what I've actually been doing, what can I do to improve? One of the most fun parts of this project was building it with Google AI Studio and Gemini. I'm not a software developer, so being able to describe what I wanted in plain English and then have AI generate the code is pretty incredible. It still took a lot of trial and error, debugging, and refining, but it made building an app like this way more accessible than I could possibly have imagined. Building this app has been a really fun way to combine two hobbies, grappling and learning about AI. It helped me think more intentionally about my training, and it's also shown me that just how powerful these tools can be. So if you have some ideas for features that would make something like this more useful, I'd love to hear it. And if you're interested in hearing more videos about judo, BJJ, and the occasional AI side project, consider subscribing to the Old Guy Judo channel. There's still a lot of features I'd like to add, better visualizations, more insights, and hopefully a cleaner way to compare how my game evolves over time. This project is still very much a work in progress. To be clear, I didn't build this because I thought the world needed another app. I built it because I wanted a better way to understand my own training, and I wanted an opportunity to use AI. So if other people find it useful too, that's a bonus. That's awesome. If you want to try it, please do. You can do so at app.oldguyjudo.com.
If you like the video, smash that like and subscribe. Smash that like and subscribe.
Smash.